Doom: The Dark Ages has been announced, and with it we are getting our first look at a current-gen only outing from id Software's seminal series running on the slick and fast id Tech engine. With this trailer in hand, I thought it would be great to talk about some of the few tech details I saw in a short video here for Digital Foundry. We only have less than 2 minutes of footage to work with here, but still, I saw some cool stuff, so let's get straight into it. The first thing I noticed in this trailer was something I did not expect to see in a Doom game: volumetric clouds. Usually Doom games take place indoors in cramped corridors, yet here, volumetric clouds are featured prominently in many shots of the trailer, with the most obvious shot being in the intro as we see a burning citadel floating in the sky. Here the citadel is wreathed in clouds that showcase local self-shadowing, lighting from the sun, and light transmission, which is obvious on their fringed edges. They are most obvious in the shot here, as well as later on when the Slayer is shot down planetside presumably, and the clouds part when he crosses through them. Now, I do not think this is some sort of crazy, massive physical simulation of volumetric clouds parting. Rather, I imagine it is a VDB animation playback of some sort. Physical volumetric simulation like we saw back in the day in Batman Arkham Knight is generally very expensive to run, and if it is only on screen shortly, like it is in this trailer and presumably as it is in game, then I imagine a company like id Software would probably do it in a way that runs fast, as their games run fast. So here I imagine it is a performance-saving animation of sorts. But the clouds nonetheless, while playing that animation, are rendered in a volumetric way. Those are the most obvious shots containing these clouds, but I think they're actually found all throughout the trailer whenever any of the larger scale of the game world is apparent on screen. In that opening camera scroll, they can be found above the mountains and in the background towards where the sun is. And whenever we see the Slayer on foot, if you look at the top of the image, you can see them peeking out there. And sometimes it even looks like they're showing evidence of them moving or evolving slightly. Usually volumetric clouds are found in open world games with a dynamic time of day, and Doom: The Dark Ages is most likely not that kind of a title. Though, even if it is not an open world, I do think this game is much larger than the previous ones in terms of play area. You really get a sense of that all throughout the trailer as well, with little obvious gatekeeping or gameplay arenas like we saw in Doom 2016 or Doom Eternal. If the area of play is much larger than it has ever been before, then volumetric clouds actually make a lot of sense, as from a development standpoint, the art for the sky can be more easily iterated on for artists instead of just a static skybox, so larger environments can be built in a more procedural and less static way. Another thing that volumetric clouds help with is maintaining proper parallax perspective and keeping visual quality high when you get up into the air. And in Doom: The Dark Ages, apparently you can ride a dragon or something? My goodness, I'm not sure what that's about, but in such a case, volumetric clouds make a lot of sense, as you being higher in the air and moving around really fast would poke holes in any sort of static skybox like we saw in the previous Doom games. Volumetric clouds would look comparatively a lot better, even if they are of course more expensive to render than some sort of static skybox. The second thing that caught my eye in this trailer was once again from the size of those environments on display. Just even in the initial snippet of first-person gameplay, you can see a whole ton of depth to the area where you can run to, and way beyond that which we saw in previous Doom games. And the backbone of this all that we're seeing in this trailer here is a good looking level of detail system, which based on the trailer is robust enough to keep any obvious level of detail transitions to be very minimal. I only saw a handful throughout the trailer, like this one we're seeing here with this tree, and this is good because the camera in this trailer is moving very fast, and usually when a camera moves fast, then you see level of detail transitions more easily. So that means that the system is doing a good enough job to hide that in a good way. On the smaller level, this level of detail system is allowing for objects in Doom the Dark Ages to have a really high level of detail. Doom Eternal heavily increased the amount of visible geometry on screen versus Doom 2016, and this game seems to do that in a similar way this time. The super shotgun is extremely round, with not a polygon edge in sight, and close-ups we see of the Slayer show a lot of detail that is realized with real geometry and not just textures. Like, check out his spiked gauntlet here. There's tons of geometry there just to realize mundane things like spikes. Textures also seem universally high res on close inspection, with one of my favorite texture details in the trailer being the animated rain texture that you can see pouring off the Slayer's armor in this intro shot here. It's a subtle effect, but when you see it, you really cannot unsee it, and I think it looks fantastic. One thing I was having a lot of trouble spotting in this trailer though was visual evidence of ray tracing. Now, Doom Eternal added in ray traced reflections in a patch for PC, Xbox Series X, and PlayStation 5. I fully expect id to continue using that technology in Doom the Dark Ages, but this trailer's environments and lighting choices did not make it easy to spot. Most metals you can see here in the trailer are very worn, where the RT reflections would be less obvious on them. And the few moments where there was anything highly reflective, like as this door is opening here, we can see something highly reflective on the ground, well, there I saw evidence of screen space errors occurring. So you can see the reflection on the ground here having a bit in the reflection that moves in tandem with the door disoccluding the background, so a screen space error. Now, Doom Eternal did mix screen space reflections with RT reflections, which is what I think we are seeing here, but basically I want to say that I did not see any ultra obvious shot in this trailer where I found ray tracing of any sort to be very evident, though I do imagine it is there given id Software's most recent history. The last thing I noticed in this trailer here was just how real it was. It didn't seem faked in any sort of way. We are looking at something that is being generally and unquestionably rendered here in real time, even though it looks incredible in many shots. I say that with such great conviction due to the performance showcased throughout the trailer. At many moments, like with this explosion here, we can see obvious large-scale frame drops occurring where it looks like it's dipping into the 30s here when this is happening. I saw this and many other consistent frame drops or duplicate frames throughout the trailer when things were occurring, and so I think we're looking at genuine gameplay footage here. It's just still heavily work in progress, hence the performance drops. id Software has a great track record with its games at release that are very smooth, if not entirely locked at 60 FPS on current generation machines, and I think any performance drops we're seeing here is just work in progress stuff, and id will definitely iron them out for launch. If anything, it just proves that this is real time. Beyond that, there's not too much I want to get into here. With only less than 2 minutes shown in heavily edited snippets, there's only realistically so much I can say with great confidence before I would start repeating myself. As a whole, I want to personally say, though, that this trailer massively excites me as a Doom fan, and it came out with incredible swagger. You know what I mean, showing new gameplay, enemies, and really badass looking weapons with an incredible head-banging worthy soundtrack backing it. It knows what they're doing for sure, and they know their audience, and I'm curious to see what else is revealed about the game's technology in the lead up to launch. Will there be more ray tracing than just reflections? How big are these gameplay environments? And what on earth is going on with that dragon? Anyway, I hope you liked this short video covering some of the tech things I noticed in the reveal trailer for Doom the Dark Ages. If you did like it, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're already a subscriber, hit that little bell button in the corner to be informed as soon as Digital Foundry posts a video. Help us out on Patreon, comment below, follow on Twitter, and as always, this is Alex, bidding you farewell und auf Wiedersehen.